I'm Peter Shinn with Pro-Life Unity and ProLifeNews.tv. I'd like to welcome you to this PLATForum opening. We have today the sort of the official opening of the PLATForum, which stands for the Pro-Life Legislative Action Team Forum. And the idea behind this effort is that we have the ability as specific pro-life organizations to communicate with the Congress and our government about pro-life issues that a lot of people might not know about, or perhaps even our own congressional representatives don't know enough about to be able to legislate on. And these issues can be from anything from embryonic stem cell research to cloning, chimeras, the blending of human animals, human-animal hybrids, and that kind of thing. And of course, we're talking very importantly about abortion and the need to end abortion. It is a topic that has been going on for 35 years, and well, I call it the big fish, and we've got to shoot this one out and start dealing with all these other issues. But again, when we're talking about legislative items that are being presented to our representatives by various pro-life organizations and by people who are trying to make a difference and make a change, our congressional representatives, it's a difficult issue to deal with, because oftentimes these drafts of legislation are things that we can't really understand, and we don't know what people are talking about. And one issue that came up recently was the therapeutic embryonic stem cell research, and it was one that confused many pro-life organizations and individuals. And when I called around pro-life people and I asked them, do they know the difference between therapeutic embryonic stem cell research and just in general embryonic stem cell research, most people, actually nobody really knew anything about it until they had researched it and gotten back to me. Oh, well, I believe the American Life League had a good understanding of that, so there was one organization. But it's not to blame, you know. I can't blame people for not knowing these, you know, the descriptions, these items and what's being presented and how to deal with them. So here we are. How can we support our congressional representatives who submit a bill? How can we support organizations who are submitting bills? How do we learn what those bills are, whether they be general bills or amendments, any kind of legislation that's being submitted? How do we deal with that? Well, that's where PLATForum comes in. Pro-Life Legislation and Action Team Forum. We want to be here for all of you so that you have some place to look to when an item comes up. How do I feel about this? How should I vote about this? How do I talk to my own people about this? Where do we go from here on these topics? We pray that you'll come to us. And we pray that we'll all work together, because us, it means participation. Us means all of us working together. And that's why we created Pro-Life Unity in the first place, was because we wanted to unite people in our common cause, to create that puzzle, complete the puzzle that we believe that God has for us. We're all pieces of the puzzle. We come together, we complete the picture, and we need to do that. We've got to come together on common issues and work together. And our guest speaker this morning is Dr. David Prentice. And Dr. Prentice has a lot of experience in these kinds of issues and can talk circles around your average person when it comes to any kind of scientific proposal that a person might have. I think a lot of us, though we took science classes in school, when it comes to understanding of cells, embryonic cells, whether or not there can be such a thing as therapeutic embryonic stem cell research, I think that he's a little more professional and a little more learned about this topic. And he is here at the Family Research Council where we're having this event, and he will help us get an understanding of some of the basics of that, why we're here, and what kinds of things are out there, and then also where do we need to go, and how can the PLATForum serve us. So without any further time, I'd like to introduce Dr. David Prentice.
Thanks, Peter. It's a pleasure to be here today. You know, really, a lot of this is an educational issue. People need to be informed. Certainly the legislators need to be informed about what are the real facts as they look at these different issues, as they look at the legislation, deciding whether to vote for or against, or perhaps introduce certain bills. They need to know the basic facts involved, and especially how that relates to a pro-life viewpoint. At the very basic level, when we talk about stem cells, many people still don't realize there are two basic categories. There are embryonic stem cells and adult stem cells. So when somebody says, oh, you're against stem cell research, that's not true. we're in favor of stem cell research. But the point is we're in favor of stem cell research that does not destroy human life, and also, as an added bonus, in favor of stem cell research that actually helps patients. Embryonic stem cells come from embryos. Just a few days after life begins, you have to destroy those young human lives to get embryonic stem cells. The other part of that that most people don't realize is that embryonic stem cells, which have been around in the lab, first with mouse and then human, for 27 years, have not benefited a single patient as yet, and haven't really benefited that many mice or rats. Their main forte is to form tumors in the mice and rats into which they're injected. So very often we'll hear that you need to support stem cell research, and usually the proponents mean embryonic, because it's going to lead to lots of cures as well as perhaps a great economic boom. What they're not telling you is there's no evidence as yet that embryonic stem cells will actually help a single patient. In fact, even the leading scientists in the embryonic stem cell research area now are admitting it will be decades, if ever, before an embryonic stem cell might actually be used in an attempt to treat a patient. Contrast that with adult stem cells. And adult is a large category. It also includes umbilical cord blood, placental stem cells, amniotic fluid. Even babies have adult-type stem cells in their tissues and organs. Number one, you don't have to kill the donor of the stem cells to get these for research and for treatments. And number two, these are the stem cells, the adult stem cells that are actually helping patients now. Thousands of patients for over 70 different diseases and injuries, where there's already published evidence that adult stem cells can actually benefit patient health. And so there's both an ethical and a practical advantage to using adult-type stem cells.